So I want to try to get straight to the point and just give you guys the most helpful tips, the most helpful information, and the things that truly helped me the most. But today I'm going to be taking you guys back down memory lane, back to where it all started when I was 15 years old and I started lifting weights for the first time. And basically everything that I did to go from being really skinny, really insecure, unconfident, to being strong, thick, slim, thick, curvy, and confident. I started lifting weights and going to the gym when I was 17 years old. And my main reason for going was simply because I was really skinny. I think I weighed around 112 to 115 pounds when I first started going to the gym. And for me personally, I was just really tired of feeling insecure. I wanted to feel feminine and sexy and confident, and I definitely did not feel that way. I felt very weak. I had never lifted weights before, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But I knew I wanted to feel strong and to feel confident. I knew how I wanted to look and how I wanted to feel, but I didn't really know what to do. It took a lot of trial and error to finally figure out how to build the body that I built. The mistake that I made when I first started going to the gym was doing a lot of cardio and only really doing like machine exercises. I would see these girls at the gym and I would think like, wow, I want to be like that. And they were deadlifting, they were squatting, they were lifting heavy weights, and they had small waists, big hips, big glutes, big quads. And I was like, okay, that is what I want to look like, and that is what I want to do. I want to be strong. I want to be curvy. I decided to step out of my comfort zone. I decided to start squatting. I was tired of feeling and looking like a 12-year-old boy in my mind. And at first I could only really squat the bar, and that was very discouraging. Part of me just wanted to hide under a rock, but I understood that, you know, the only way I'm going to get out of feeling this way is if I keep going and keep pushing myself past the point of being comfortable. And I try to remind myself that everything that starts out as difficult is going to eventually get easy if I keep practicing and keep doing this. The mistake that I was making was I was doing legs, but I was doing different muscle groups all throughout the week. So I was doing quads one day a week, glutes one day a week, hamstrings one day a week. I was not training with enough frequency. I was doing too much cardio. I wasn't lifting enough. I wasn't aiming to progressively get stronger or increase my weight on my list. So I wasn't really seeing progress. So to this day, I still train my legs and glutes 2 to 3 times a week. And I feel like that was the biggest game changer from the very beginning for me. Training quads, glutes, and hamstrings 2 to 3 times a week. And I would try to get stronger in like the 4 to 6 rep range. I would also try to get stronger in like the 12 to 15 rep range, aiming to get stronger in a variety of set rep ranges, which is what we call progressive overload. There did come a point though where I hit a plateau and I wasn't really seeing progress anymore. But at this point I was weighing around 119, so I've gained a few pounds, nothing really significant or crazy. And I could see muscle definition, I could see abs, so I felt, you know, a little bit more confident, I felt good. But then there came a point where I'm like, okay, you know, I'm seeing like muscle definition and I look good, but I'm still really small. I still feel really skinny. I kind of just felt like a stick with abs. I felt like I wasn't filling out the way that I wanted to. Then I realized the number one thing that I was doing wrong that was messing me up was I was not eating enough at all. In the beginning, I just thought that you just had to eat healthy, whatever your goal is, whether you want to lose fat, gain muscle. I didn't really know about like tracking your caloric intake, being in a caloric surplus versus a caloric deficit. I just was not eating enough to continue to gain muscle. So once I started increasing my caloric intake and tracking my calories and my macros, that was the biggest game changer for me. So I kind of started off small. I don't know why, but I was really afraid to eat more. It wasn't until I started just listening to my body and learning my own body and figuring out what works best for me and my body and my goals that I started seeing progress. Like, okay, low carb is not gonna cut it for me. So I ended up looking into how to track your macros and how to track your caloric intake. I started tracking my calories, making sure that I was eating more calories a day than I was burning, so that I would be in a caloric surplus. Even though I was eating healthy before, I was eating like maybe 50 grams of protein a day and 100 grams of carbs a day. Like I was eating like a bird, eating nothing. For me personally, what I would recommend for any of you who are trying to gain weight, I started eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So at the time I weighed around 119, 120 pounds. So I made sure no matter what, each day that I was eating at least 120 grams of protein a day. Now my metabolism was already pretty fast, and the more muscle that you gain, the faster your metabolism is going to be. So I really had to make sure that overall I was eating enough calories. It was kind of like a gradual increase for my calories. I started off maybe eating 1,000 calories a day. I've gotten all the way up to eating almost 3,000 calories a day. So I did do everything slowly over time. It wasn't like I just went from eating 1,000 to 3,000 calories a day. When I was starting to feel like I wasn't eating enough, I would slightly increase my calories even more. Muscle does take time to mature, so for me, I wanted to make sure that I was really focusing on gaining lean muscle mass and maintaining that muscle before I went into cutting and trying to get lean again. Yeah, over the course of these last 5 years or so, I've watched myself go from being very, very skinny, very weak, both physically and mentally, to being the strong, confident, and curvy woman that I want to be and that I've always dreamed of being. You don't need to go out and get surgery. You don't even need to do anything extreme. It's just a matter of working hard, learning your body, eating enough, and being consistent day in and day out. For me, something that was really helpful was taking progress pictures along the way, because there would be times where I'm like, oh, I'm not seeing progress, or I still feel really skinny. And then I would look back on a picture of me when I was 17 years old and be like, oh wow, like I've really come a long way. You absolutely can build a monster big old butt and big legs and have a small waist and have a superwoman look, is what I like to call it. Don't be afraid to lift weights. Don't be afraid to continue increasing your weight on your lifts. Push your body, get out of your comfort zone. Don't do the same weight over and over and over and over and over again on your exercises. You also don't need to do 50 billion different exercises, whatever you might see on the internet, in order to accomplish this either. I would suggest picking 2 to 3 compound lifts for your legs and glutes, aiming to get strong in a variety of set and rep ranges. Do some accessory movements. Train each muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. Get a lot of frequency and a lot of volume in. And freaking eat. Don't be afraid of food. Don't be afraid to eat. You have to fuel your body. You have to eat enough. So yeah, those are my biggest tips. This is my journey. I went from weighing 112 to 115 pounds to weighing 154 pounds. Do not let how long something is going to take discourage you from going out there and still being consistent and still working hard to achieve your goals, because like I said, that time is going to pass by a lot faster than you think, and you can either let that time pass and look back and see how hard you've worked and see the progress that you've made, or you can be discouraged by how long it's going to take and still not be where you want to be in a few years from now. And I'll tell you what too, the process of gaining the weight that I gained, gaining muscle, and just my whole fitness journey has shaped me into a completely different person, a completely different woman, not just physically but mentally as well. There's a lot of other reasons why I started too. It wasn't just for my appearance, but maybe I'll get into that in another video. If you have any questions or you need any helpful tips or advice, let me know in the comment section. I would be happy to help you, talk with you, whatever you need. I also have affordable training programs and coaching available on my website, www.shaysadics.com. I will link everything in the description box. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. I also eat the occasional cinnamon roll, or 12.